Hello all, welcome to Abhiram IAS Academy. Let us go through the daily chronicles of January 9th, 2025. So these are the articles we are going to see. Hybrid technologies needed for nutritional security, excess fluoride exposure and its impacts on IQ levels. Then we have ICMR pilot programs on low-cost technology to detect the iron deficiency. Then Denmark is open to dialogue with US, and Los Angeles has wildfires. Supreme Court is hearing the challenges on Election Commission appointment. Next, the first article is regarding the hybrid technologies needed for nutritional security. You can find this article on page 12. So this is the article. So the article says, prioritize the studies on oilseeds, rice, pulses, hybrids. So says the official PK Mishra, he is the principal secretary to the PM. So what does the article say? He is arguing for hybrid seeds to improve the production and productivity of oilseeds, rice and pulses. So India has huge demand for oilseeds, rice and pulses. So we have to address the growing population needs, okay, and also satisfy their nutritional requirements. We have to bring in these oilseeds, rice and pulses hybrids. So but there is one problem with the hybrids. What is this? So save the hybrid seeds without losing the heterosis as in open pollinated crops. So what is open pollinated crops and what is the problem with the hybrid seeds, and why can't we express the heterosis in hybrid seeds? So what is heterosis? Heterosis is nothing but hybrid vigor. So hybrid vigor is nothing but the offsprings will have desired traits like more uniformity. There is more uniformity, there is faster growth, okay, and large volume also of the farm produce. So these are the advantages of the hybrid seeds, but we are unable to transfer them to the offspring. Why is it happening? Because of the Mendel's law of genetic segregation. So, but in open pollination or natural crops, we can see the desired traits are often transferred to the offspring. So because over the generations, we have genetic stability. So the genes will be stabilized over generations, and it is a natural process of evolution, and the pollination is random and natural. Factors are responsible for this, like wind, water, birds, insects, like this. So we will get true to type seeds, that is the desired genes of the parents are transferred to the offsprings. So we will get the true to type seeds in natural, but that same thing is not repeated in the hybrids. So this is heterosis, okay. It is also called as hybrid vigor, and offsprings with superior qualities will be obtained. How is this occurring? Heterosis is because of we cross over two genetically distinct inbred parent lines. So there will be two different parent lines. We will select the desired genes, desired plants, and then we will inbreed them in a lab environment. So then we can eventually cross over the genes of these, okay, in an agricultural research setup. So this is important for our commercial agriculture. So commercial agriculture is dependent on these traits like yield, faster growth, uniformity and stress resistance. Stress resistance to what? It can be pest, okay, it can be pest, it can be higher temperatures, okay. So like this, even any kind of diseases, all these. Let us look at the Mendel's law of genetic segregation. So what are genes? Genes are the basic units of heredity which will be responsible for the transfer of the traits from the parents to the offsprings. So whether a flower will have color or not is determined by the genes. But which color will it have? Will it have blue, pink or white? So there can be different versions of the flowers, right? So that is because of alleles. Alleles are nothing but different versions of genes, okay. Each parent can pass only one allele to the offspring. So the parent himself will have different versions of genes on the segments of the DNA. He will be able to pass it to the offspring only one allele, not all the different types. So that's why we will have different traits in the offsprings. So this is because of meiosis type of cell division. There are different types of cell division, mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis is able to produce same kind of cells from the parent. So we can see this in growth and repair. If you have any kind of injury, you will regenerate the cells by mitosis. Okay, and then even in asexual reproduction like budding of yeast also, we will find this kind of cell division. But in meiosis, it is only occurring in germ cells. That is, germ cells or gametes. Gamete formation is because of this meiosis. Here, the crossing over of the genetic material will happen. So, because of this, there is an exchange of genetic material and we can see different versions of the genes expressed in the offsprings. So, there is genetic recombination, and then combination of allele determines the traits of the offsprings. So, different combinations of alleles are possible. There are different versions of genes and different types of alleles. So, they will combine in a different manner and there will be different traits of offspring. This is the reason for genetic variation among the siblings. Next article, it is about excess fluoride exposure and its impacts on IQ level. You can find this article in the science section of Hindu in page 2. So, this is the article. Review asserts the link between the fluoride levels and IQ loss. What does the article say? Excess fluoride exposure and lowering of the IQ levels. So, in US, Journal of American Medical Association published an article in 2024. As per this research article, high fluoride exposure, especially in the child stage or prenatal stage, will cause damage to the IQ levels. So, what is the safe limit? Safe limit is 1.5 milligram per liter for fluoride. And why is it happening? Because of thyroid hormone disruption and oxidative stress. What does these two mean? So, because of these two, we can see the lower IQ levels. So, what does these two mean? Thyroid hormone disruption and oxidative stress. Let us have a look at the thyroid hormone disruption. So, what are the thyroid hormones? They are thyroxine, it is also called as T4, and triiodothyronine, that is T3. Okay. What are the functions of this? So, thyroid is majorly responsible for the metabolism in the body. What is metabolism? So, how are you growing? Is it fast? Is it slow? So, how are you repairing your tissues if there is any injury? So, all that is determined by metabolism. So, this thyroid hormone regulates that metabolism. So, it is responsible for growth and development, also nervous system. Then we will have also body temper regulation with thyroid hormone only, and it also regulates the heart rate. So, it is very important for normal bodily functions. So, thyroid hormone disruption, how does it occur? How can we disrupt the thyroid hormone? It can be because of exposure to any environmental pollutants or any kind of toxins, or if the chemicals are in excess in any water or the food we eat, that will also lead to disruption of thyroid hormone. So, it can also occur because of dietary conditions, like if there is any deficiency of iodine in your diet, then also there will be thyroid hormone disruption. Then if you are ingesting any medications also, there can be imbalance in the thyroid hormone levels. What are the consequences then? Consequences are hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. Hypothyroidism is nothing but lower than normal level of thyroid hormone, whereas hyper is higher than normal level of thyroid hormone. So, what are the consequences? Hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. So, it can have like fatigue. You can have lot of fatigue, stress, okay, and you will have lot of weight gain also if you have lower level of thyroid, and you can easily go into depression also for no reason if you have lower level of thyroid, and also you will have cold intolerance. Okay, and what is the case with hyper? So, there is more thyroid than required. So, everything will be fast, metabolism will be fast. So, the body is already hot, it's generating a lot of heat. So, it will be heat intolerant. So, along with that, we have weight loss in this and rapid heartbeat and anxiety. They will also get trouble to sleep. So, there is insomnia in them. Then, what is oxidative stress? Oxidative stress. So, when there is an imbalance in the free radicals and antioxidants. What is free radical? So, usually there are some things like reactive oxygen species. Examples are hydroxyl radical. Okay. So, these radicals have an unpaired electron, because of which they will search for other electrons and try to pair with them. So, but this will happen only by stealing the electrons from the healthy cell molecules. So because of this, there will be triggering of chain reaction that will damage all the cells. Okay. So how to counter this? Antioxidants will counter this. So antioxidants can be found in fruits and vegetables. So antioxidants can easily neutralize this. That is, they will donate one electron to the free radical and stabilize it. Okay. So what are the consequences of this oxidative stress? There will be cell damage. Cell damage, we have seen, it will steal the electrons and trigger a chain reaction of cell damage. So because of oxidative stress for a longer period of time, we can see phenomena like aging and cardiovascular diseases. Then we also see neurodegenerative diseases and cancer. Cancer is also one consequence of excessive oxidative stress for a longer period. Then we have other article, that is ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, is piloting the program on low cost technology to identify the iron deficiency. You can find this in page 12, and this is the article. So ICMR gets low cost technology to detect any iron deficiency. So what does the article say? ICMR pilot programs on the low cost technology to detect any iron deficiency. So iron deficiency, we all know, will lead to anemia. So but why is iron important to humans? Because of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein in the blood. It will have a structure. There is an outer ring and there is an ion at the center that will bind to the oxygen molecules, and it will carry all the oxygen to different cell parts and tissues. So because of which cells will have respiration. So it is also important in energy production, and it will also render support to our immune system, and it is important for brain health and cognitive development also. So that is the importance of iron. So iron deficiency is problematic. Then what are the tests? POCT, that is point of contact testing, and another one is Nutrifone. So these two are the technologies that ICMR is planning to pilot. Why? Because they are affordable, rapid and easy to use. So what are the technologies? POCT, point of contact testing. It will have portable diagnostic. So we can detect the iron deficiency from the patient location itself. He doesn't need to go anywhere. Nutrifone is by Cornell University. What does it say? So the technology is, they will take the sample, blood sample, and within 15 minutes, you will be able to know all the deficiencies like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin B12 and all iron deficiency also. So all this can be found out with this Nutrifone technology. Then the next article is about Denmark is open to dialogue with US. That is, you can find it in page 14. This is the article. Denmark is open to dialogue with US, says the foreign minister. So Greenland, let us look at Greenland. So for 600 years, it has been a part of Denmark. Now it wants independence and it doesn't want any transition of power from one nation to another. So US is saying, I want to acquire Greenland, but the Greenland doesn't like that. It even wants to get independence from Denmark. So but Trump is interested, and he even did not rule out any military intervention. So that is problematic. So Denmark's foreign minister, Løkke Rasmussen, statement. He says he is open to dialogue with US on the Arctic security, and he acknowledges Greenland's aspirations for independence, and he also says that Greenland is unlikely to become a US state. What does Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, say? He says military intervention is unlikely. So he is in disbelief, and trade war, even if it occurs, it will be unfavorable to US itself. So international community also expresses concern over this US expansionism, especially France and Germany are worried. And then PM, Greenland's PM, Mute Egede, he is also saying Greenland is not for sale. We want independence. We don't want transition from one nation to another nation. So why is US interested in Greenland acquisition? So Greenland has a lot of natural resources. It is abundant, and there is also melting of ice because of climate change. So with the melting of ice, there are new navigable water routes available. So we can develop new ports and develop new infrastructure, and also extract a lot of resources from the Greenland. And it is also important for Arctic security. It is surrounded by all the major nations like Europe, Russia, US, Canada, all these. So it is important for that. It is strategically located and it is abundant in all the natural resources. Like what? It is having both light and heavy rare earth elements like what? Gold, platinum, leads, zinc, all these. So it has oil reserves and natural gas reserves also. It has 17.5 billion barrels of oil and natural gas deposits of 148 trillion cubic feet. So to understand the importance, you can assume 69 years of India's natural gas requirements will be fulfilled by this, and for oil 17.5 billion barrels means it will serve India for 9 years. So that is the significance of these resources, and its location is between North Atlantic and Arctic Ocean. Okay, so we can see here, this is Greenland, this is Arctic, and here we have Atlantic, North Atlantic Ocean. So it is strategically located and it is pivotal for military routes and trade routes also. So the melting of ice sheet might open lot of new routes which are important for both military and trade routes. Why is US interested? So it is citing some national security reasons and economic benefits also, and it wants to monitor and secure the Arctic region, and it wants to keep a control on the Arctic surroundings. So that's why it wants to acquire Greenland and also exploit its natural resources. It will also open new maritime pathways with the melting ice. Then ports and infrastructure also possible. Then it will reduce the dependence of US on the external players. So these are the advantages that US is aiming for. New maritime pathways with the melting of ice. So what are the new maritime pathways? They are Northwest Sea Route, Northeast Sea Route or Northern Sea Route. Then we have Transpolar Sea Route. So these are the sea routes. We can see the Transpolar Sea Route here. So this is the Transpolar Sea Route. Okay. And this is the Northern Sea Route. And this is Northwest Passage. So if you look at the Northwest Passage and Northern Sea Route, initially if we want to go from San Francisco to Rotterdam in Netherlands, we have to go all the way from Panama Canal. Okay. So but now it is easier because of this route. So this is how you can cut short the route, and also this is the Northern Sea Route. So from Rotterdam in Netherlands to Yokohama in Japan or Shanghai in China, we can cut short the route. So this is the new route. This is the old route, and it is passing through Suez Canal. So we can cut short the time and energy also. So that is the advantage. Next article is about Los Angeles wildfires. We can find this article in page 14. So these are the fires. Homes are destroyed and thousands flee as wildfires tear. Los Angeles wildfire. So there are multiple names for this wildfires, that is Palisades, Hearst and Eaton. So these are different types of wildfires in Los Angeles. So around 1,000 structures were destroyed and lot of people have to flee. That is 1.5 lakh people were evacuated. Then the local Santa Ana winds, these are high speed winds. So these are high speed winds around 100 miles per hour speed. So they are making it difficult to curb the wildfires and they are fanning the flames further. So what are the factors? Dry lightning strikes. So dry lightning strikes might be natural factor, but there are other factors also like climate change and global warming. They are rising the temperatures and making the climate drier because they are altering the precipitation patterns, and California has seen driest period in 1200 years. Okay. So this dry vegetation is creating a tinderbox environment, and the altered precipitation patterns is also one reason for the wildfire. Then strong winds like Santa Ana winds are also responsible for fanning the flames further. Next article is about Supreme Court, which is to hear the challenges on Election Commission Appointment Law of 2023. It is relevant to the GS2 topic, polity and constitutional bodies. So in 1991, we have the Act, Election Commission Conditions of Service and Transaction of Business Act. This was replaced in 2023 with the new law, and it came to enforcement on 2nd January 2024. So what is the Selection Committee of Election Commission composed of? It has Prime Minister. Earlier it has Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India and Leader of Opposition, but now the Chief Justice of India was replaced with another Union Cabinet Minister who is to be appointed by the Prime Minister himself. So usually we should have balance of power in appointments of constitutional bodies. So we have judiciary, legislature and executive. So executive, we have prime minister here. To take the will of legislature, we have leader of opposition here. Okay. And then judiciary is a neutral body. So there will be a balance of power. But with this amendment, there is another cabinet minister, that is executive member himself. So the balance of power is tilted in favor of executive. This has questioned the independence of election commission. The amendment has also changed the service conditions. So earlier it was equivalent to Supreme Court judge, but now it has been altered to cabinet secretary. So what are the concerns? One concern is independence, and there will be a lot of executive influence because there are two members from the executive. One is cabinet minister and the PM himself. So there will be a lot of executive influence on the appointments. So we have to conduct free and fair elections, and impartiality is a must for this. So unless the public has trust over the independence of institutions like these, it is very difficult to sustain. For example, in other countries, there are frequent military coups. Okay, we can see that in our neighboring Myanmar and Pakistan also. But in India, whenever there is a transfer of power, there is no protest. The transfer of power is always peaceful from one government to the other government. So there is a threat that there will be an impact on free and fair elections. Balance of power is crucial for the constitutional bodies. Let us have a look at the article. So Article 324 gives Election Commission all the powers to conduct free and fair elections. So it is a constitutional body. So constitutional bodies usually have higher independence because of some conditions, like they will have secure tenure and they can be removed only on the grounds mentioned in the constitution. So like that. But how can they change the appointment conditions now? Because in Article 324 Clause 2, we have one condition that appointment is subject to the law made by the Parliament. So simply Parliament can make a law and change the appointment process of the Election Commission. Another article is regarding independence, that is Article 324 Clause 5. It has provisions for independence. How? It provides secure tenure and removal grounds are same as Supreme Court judge, and service conditions cannot be varied to their disadvantage. So only Central Election Commission can recommend for the removal of other election commissioners or regional commissioners. So these are the safeguards. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Abhiram IAS Academy.